What if they said, because they wanted us to point to the skull. So if the 12 cranial nerves may be 12 disciples, Christ is the one that's in the center of these disciples, right? The one who has the awareness of this stuff, right? What if Matthew, Luke, John, and Mark are really the four lobes of the brain?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
They pointed us to the brain.
Or when we get down into that limbic system, we just start to see that this hippocampus got 12 different layers. See, this thing is phenomenal, man. It's phenomenal.
And when you get into DNA, the DNA rolls with what they call what? Adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine, which is 4. You only got 4 chambers in your heart. There are only 4 blood types, AB, then AB together, and then O. So again, what if the 4 authors of the book were really symbolic for the 4 inside of you, the 4 blood types, the 4 chambers of your heart, and the four lobes of your brain? It's just a question.
In fact, I can't remember the exact translation, but it'll come to me. But the robe that the Christ had on, when I actually translated that, it made another reference to the skull again. So they have dual, multiple places in Scripture that point toward, this phenomenon, that we're speaking of this evening. But it's buried. So Scripture will tell you something like this. They'll say, "Why sleepest thou, O Lord? Awake." So it's a force that is buried inside all of us, that comes alive when we start to use it, to conscientiously use it. And then what happens? It resurrects itself and remove. What did they say when they rode up on the Christ after he resurrected? They say they don't know how the boulder got removed, but it comes out, and you find out that God has been acting as you the whole time.
But there's a scripture that say that. What it say about do they not know they were in the presence of the angels, or the angels was with them and they did not even know?
Right. It's all through the text, man. But the thing is, I guess what we're saying is, why aren't these passages being read? Why and listen, I had these conversations all the time. My last 2 weeks have been filled with this type of conversation with people who are traditional Christians. And I want to say this too, man. I'm not here to bash any Christian or anybody of any faith. That's not the goal. In fact, I'm actually here to pierce inside of that community.
Hebrews 6.
Oh man, listen, because they tell you flat out in Hebrews that when are we going to move past these elementary teachings of Christ? It says that verbatim.
That's how it opens up in Hebrews 6.
Yes. When will we move past these? They say, how long are we going to talk about baptisms? How long are we going to talk about the laying on of hands? How long are we going to talk about your faith?
Boring.
It literally says that. Like, how long are we going to do this? They said, when are we going to come to a more mature understanding of what Christ is? And then Paul tells you too, I no longer view Christ from the human point of view.
Say it again.
He says it flat out. I no longer view Christ from a human point of view.
Paul was tripping.
Listen, Paul was an outsider. Paul would roll up on them folks. He rolled up on the Athenians and they said, who is this babbler? What does he have to say today? And then he told them, I see that you are very religious in your ways. Now, time out, noble, time out. Now, we in the book. And one of the main characters has the gall to tell some other quote unquote supposed to be learned men, I see that you are very religious in your ways. So I guess my question to the traditional people are, do you actually know what you're really practicing?
Nope.
Because Paul makes it clear, no. This ain't it. This ain't it. Right? And listen. They tell you all, you're worshiping things that have ears but do not hear, eyes that do not see. And people are bowing down to images made by the hands of a man or a woman and giving praise to that. But it does not, what did the scripture say? It has a throat but does not talk. So what is the true and living? Who is the true and living? If the body is the temple of God, as scriptures, if the body is the temple of God, ladies and gentlemen,
That's what it says.
what does that make you?